Uh, Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with Jen and Sharon. Good morning, Sharon.
Hi, Jen. Hi, everybody.
Oh my God, I forgot to get my husband made fresh coffee and I forgot to go get it. This is tragedy of mythic proportions. Well, I guess I'll just have to get it when we're done.
It's sweater weather now, so it's time for the warm drinks.
Yeah, I know. I was excited about it, and I frothed my milk and everything. So this day is not starting out right. What can I say?
Speaking of loose ends and things like that, I have to report back. A few weeks ago, I talked about how my kid wanted a new backpack.
Yeah, we talked about it. I voted for new. I voted, and
yes,
so did
you. You were the kind. You were kind, like Auntie
Jen,
who said, "Let the kid get a backpack. Doesn't matter that she's not going to school." I never reported that she did get the backpack.
Oh. That's a big news. We need a picture. Can you later?
I was very pleased. Oh, I'll put it in the comments later. It's very cute.
Is it like sparkle unicorn, maybe?
Well, the unicorn one was retired because this is my youngest. She's a fifth grader now. She's too old for unicorns.
Oh.
So part of the calculus of deciding on the new backpack was, will I still like it in 8th grade? Because she anticipates that we're going to make her keep it for a long time.
That is a big ask. I mean, I don't even know what I'm going to like next week, let alone will I like it 3 years from now.
I know. But I'll post a picture. It's very cute.
So it's a little more adult than the previous one.
You know, a little bit. It has some bling to it. It has some sparkle and shine.
That's really. You know what? You're never too old for a little bling and sparkle, in my opinion. I'd be happy to wear a backpack with a little bling.
Especially now. I mean, what else? You know, what else we have?
So I can take it from the dining room to the kitchen.
Right.
Oh, well, bless her. I'm glad she got a new one.
Yes.
Exciting. Thank you for following up, because I think our many viewers were probably very consternated about that.
I'm sure there were a lot of opinions about that.
Absolutely. So Sharon, remind me, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about life skills and which ones our kids need to have, how they're doing, how we're doing with that. I have some funny things about my own life skill fails when I was a teenager, and the ones I had and didn't have too. So
yeah. Oh, I didn't know we were going to talk about that. That could be a whole different topic.
And I'm always ready to talk about my own fails. So, they're always in my back pocket because that's just, that's just life. I'm always failing at something. So tell me what you've been thinking about. You have 2 older kids who are in college now, so you should be showing us the way.
Yeah, they're perfect. They know everything. They don't need to know anything else. They are perfectly perfect. No, I started a list and I got started a little bit late, so my list looks short, but there it is. But there's many more. But the few that came immediately to mind were things. These were things that I didn't realize I had failed to teach them until well beyond the age when you think they should know them. So I'm
shocking. It's shocking the day you discover, wait a minute, they don't know that, and as if we had taught them that, but you can't think of everything.
You think they're going to learn it by osmosis. Just like I'm sure my mother thought I would learn to cook by osmosis, but I did not. I'm still learning how to cook, because she was one of those moms who was like, it's just easier if I do it. She didn't love having us in the kitchen with her. She had 5 kids. I really don't blame her. It was like her moment of zen was to be alone in the kitchen. So consequently, I failed. I am still failing on cooking, but maybe that is why my kids, some of my life skills that my kids don't have, are on this list. But here's one that I just wanted to figure out that you might not have thought of, which is you might want to teach your kid how to use a can opener.
A can opener.
A can opener. Most cans these days have the little pop top ring. But once in a while, you will come across a can that requires a good old-fashioned can opener. And I had a kid who had one of those horrible school projects that involved cooking of all things. Like you had to bring in something. And so her assignment involved making something called 7-pan tortilla soup. a lot of can.
I think this must be the one that we make in our house.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a great soup, but so like 5 out of 7 of the cans had the pop top ring and 2 didn't. So I was like, oh, well, no problem. Here you go. Pull the can opener out, put it on the counter. And she looked at it like this. And then she looked at the can and she was like, what do I do?
Yeah, there's so many parts and pieces and what goes where. And I mean, that is not self-explanatory.
It wasn't. It wasn't. And wait, the story gets a little bit better because so I'm like, oh, for heaven's sake, you don't know how to use a can opener? This is terrible. Let's remedy this immediately. So I get in there with her and I can get the hands on it. We get the can opener going, get halfway around the can, and the can opener busted. It just fell apart into however many parts a can opener has, that's how many it fell apart into. And it was, of course, 8:00 at night. This thing is due tomorrow. We're 5/7 of the way into 7-can tortilla soup. So it required a trip to the hardware store or someplace, I forget where. I had to go find one at that hour to complete the task. But that was a big eye opener to me that we kids never used a can opener, and it was here with 8th grade and had not happened yet. So maybe put that on your list if you haven't.
We do have that one in the bag.
Excellent.
It does remind me of my kids were a little younger. Now they're 8th grade, 6th grade. No, oh my gosh, I don't even know my kids' grades. They're 9th grade. That's because this year doesn't count. They're not even in school. It doesn't count. They're still in last year. No, they're in 9th grade, 7th grade, and 5th grade. I don't remember how old they were exactly, but old enough to know this. I think the older two maybe were like 2nd grade and 4th grade or something. And I said something about making a sandwich or spreading something on a sandwich, like peanut butter. And they did not know how to spread with a knife.
Oh.
How is that possible?
That is crazy.
Well, we fixed that immediately. So they do know how to spread things. And that's probably when I decided they needed to learn to use a can opener and everything else, because I'm not going to miss anything. If I find out that you're 8 years old and you don't know how to spread butter or peanut butter, then we got problems.
It's the same motion as the frost the cake wave, just a little, it's all on the wrist.
Sure. I don't know. Since then, they've graduated to frosting cakes and various manners of spreading, so they're doing fine on that. But
let's stay in the kitchen for one moment longer, because there's one of the other items on my list is kitchen related, and that is knife skills.
Yes.
We have a tendency in this generation to be a tad more protective of our kids than maybe our parents were of us. And I mean, nothing was really off limits. You could make your own meal in my house and use whatever equipment you needed. And my kids, they, for some reason, we protected them from the knives a little too long. And now they are still kind of afraid of them. You ask them to cut an apple or an orange, and they're like, yeah, am I doing it right? And my husband invariably says, oh, I'll just do it. I'm like, no, stop protecting them. They need to learn how to do this. So that's one of those little tussles that we've had over the years. It's like, okay, it's really time.
Do your kids, I don't know if this is I guess it's kind of a related skill or maybe even an earlier skill. Do they open boxes, like say an Amazon box or something, with a knife or scissors?
No, they just mangle it to pieces usually.
Because I feel like it's the same thing as the knives. Like I see them going in with the sharp object and I'm like, wait, because then we have to go through always point it away from you. Or, if you're going down, turn the box away so you're going away when you do it, or go up and away from you, but please don't go straight towards yourself. And we went through the same thing in the kitchen too with the knives, like cringing the way that they'll like mangle open. I can't rip open this, those plastic bags that are supposed to rip open.
Well, those are horrible.
Yes, some of them are horrible. They're supposed to rip, and you're supposed to look for the notch, and the notch is, there, or maybe it's not there, it is not ripping, and you just wind up ripping it open or using a knife or the scissors. Well, usually we use scissors for those, but they always steal my scissors. So
that's a whole other topic. Yeah,
it's a whole other topic. So we wind up going with the knife in the drawer, and then we have to do that. But yeah, we're getting there. There's real techniques that I don't even think I learned when I was a kid about, like, you're supposed to curl your fingers while you
Yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah.
If you do this, you cut off your fingertips. You're supposed to curl them up. And
I don't think I do that either. And I know that tip, but I don't use it. I'm still like, you know.
The other problem too is you're supposed to keep your knives sharpened, and that's supposed to actually make you less likely to get cut because.
And my husband loves
so
to sharpen knives. He's got like special knife sharpeners. The sound drives me crazy. I ask him to wait till I'm out of the house to do it because it's like hours of this. It sounds like there's a serial killer in my kitchen getting ready to slaughter me. So I have to leave while he's sharpening the knives. But we have very safe knives in that respect.
Yes, now I know where to bring mine.
Please do. He would love it. But wait till I'm home. Okay, so speaking of when you were talking about opening boxes, I have one on here that was a myth on my part that I failed to teach my kids till they went to college, and that was how to mail a package.
Yeah.
My kids can put a stamp on an envelope. They're not that bad. They know where the stamp goes. They know where the return address label goes. But when it came,
that's another thing. If you don't teach them, a lot of kids don't actually know that.
Right. Do it now, because especially if they're going to vote and they're voting by mail, they got to know how to do that. But something about mailing a package was truly mystifying to them. And it's so easy now because you could just go to the kiosk in your post office and it's like an ATM machine. You just do it all right there.
Yeah.
But I really had to go and kind of hold their hand through it the first time that we did it. And they just were really not, they had no idea how to get started.
You know, it's actually, I feel like it's actually gotten more complicated too, because, we have these return labels now, and some of them are, you think that makes it easy. You get the label. So what do you do then? But you have to pay attention. Is it a UPS label? Do I have to drop it off at the UPS store? Is it the postal service, in which case you can leave it with your outgoing mail?
Right.
Or do you need...
It is complicated. Yeah. There are a lot of options, and they probably, but anything that's online, they seem comfortable figuring out. But something about the in-person component is what really wrecks their head.
Because they have to create it out of whole cloth. There's no printed thing or directions. It's like having to get somewhere without Google Maps. And I have to get somewhere, and I don't have somebody telling me what to do step by step.
That is also on my list, is map skills, because they are 100% dependent on Google Maps. And there are times in your life when you're driving through the middle of Pennsylvania where there is no cell service and you don't have map service. So they're like, when is that ever going to happen? When am I ever going to need that? I'm like, you won't know until you need it, and it'll be too late.
You know what else that's good for? I was just thinking about this the other day. Taking public transit is so complicated that you need to figure out every system anew. And usually one of the ways you do that is there's a map in the train station or the subway station, and you have to figure out, like, how do I get from where I am on the map, which is obviously much more simple than a regular map, to get to where I want to go.
Absolutely.
I used to let my kids hold the map when they were little at the zoo or wherever. They give you a little map.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, some practice.
That was great. Yeah, I did love that. The zoo was a good way. Or any kind of theme park, Cedar Point, or that's a great map. And because they're so invested in wanting to get to the things they want to get to.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the wind seeker? I want to find that one. So then they'll, we have to go through Pioneer Village. And yeah, no, I think there are definitely ways that you can hold it in even before they drive. Here's another fun one well, it could be fun. I left this a little later than I should have, but before they learn to drive, you can teach them how to pump gas.
Are they allowed to? I mean, I don't really care that much, but
I don't know. But I think you stand there, you watch them, you show them. I think they can.
I'll tell you, I grew up in New Jersey where you're not allowed to pump gas.
Oh, that is weird. I know. What is I didn't pump gas in New Jersey? That is so weird. It's annoying.
I don't know why that's the rule, but I didn't pump gas until I was out of state in college.
Yeah, that was a new skill you had to learn.
Somehow I learned it. And back then, if you were driving through a rural area, do you remember the ones where, you know, they don't have their credit card slot and they have like the lever on the side where you have to like
Yes.
put the lever up. It used to be sort of a discovery process. Like, how does this particular gas pump work?
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay. Here's when we talked about our own personal fails, our own personal life skill fails. I was driving myself to college, and I didn't have my own car till last year of college, so I was old enough to drink, not drink and drive, obviously. But I was old enough that I should have known this. But I was going, and I had to pump my own gas, and I was at some rural gas station in the middle of Indiana or Iowa. And I'm trying to pump it, and it wasn't working, and And I'm so frustrated. I couldn't figure it out. And the dude is in the place, and he's just watching me, and he's laughing. And finally, I realized I had a diesel pump, and the diesel pump.
It's good it didn't work.
It's good that it didn't work.
It's really bad for your car.
It's like me, you don't know how to read. But I was like, it took me way too long to figure it out. So that's one of those things that if you didn't ever have to know, you might not learn till later.
That's true.
But you can tell your kids, there are different kinds of gas, and if you put the wrong one in, your car is cooked. So, yeah.
So, regarding driving, I think that pumping gas is a good one. But we've also started with, my two older ones are just turned 15 and 13. So I still can't believe it because, again, the rules were different in New Jersey. But my 15-year-old will be able to start driving in 6 months when he's 15 and a half. So he's pretty good with directions. And I know not all kids his age are, because we were talking amongst some other people with similar age kids. But my 13-year-old is more of a beginner when it comes to navigating around town, because I can picture sending them in the car. You know, they've driven all these places all their lives. Have they been paying attention to where to go?
I didn't. Why would they? Right?
We demoted the 15-year-old and said, you sit in the back seat when we're driving around town. It's time to tutor the 13-year-old, because when you big kid are driving, we're going to have to be in the front seat for that to supervise.
Right.
So she's never going to get that practice of riding around town unless we do it now.
You're really thinking ahead.
For once, Jen. You're on it.
No, that's really, really smart. And this is a little bit off topic, but here's a little tip for you when you get to the driving part too, which is we had to lay down a rule in our house that only the adult sitting in the passenger seat next to the driver could give any feedback. There's nothing more awful to the kid who's learning to drive than having both the parent in the seat next to them and the seat behind them.
Well, I can imagine this because we had the version of this morning with 5th grade math, with both parents telling how to do it.
Still too soon. I can't go there. It's too triggering for me.
I have to admit, I was the bad one who was telling the other parent not that he wasn't doing it right. I'm like, you're starting with, you're lefty. You've got to be on her left side if you're showing her something. She can't see anything over your hand.
Well, that's valid. So maybe the same thing goes for the type of rules you have around how you coach them with homework should maybe be the same for life skills. It might be best if you divide and conquer and say, okay, you're going to teach our kids about lawn care and vehicle maintenance, and I'm going to teach them about laundry and cooking, or whoever's daily.
I love that idea.
Because it is really upsetting to kids to get two parents at the same time, or even at different times, but just giving different messages.
I think that's true, because if you think about how you and your spouse, at least in my house, do everything a little bit differently, it would be so annoying. When the laundry's done, I hang certain things on the drying rack that he doesn't hang, and so I think that's brilliant, actually, Jen, to do
I'm starting a memoir. I think it's going to be called "I Love You, but Please Don't Do My Laundry." That's all for today. Okay, let's wrap up with one more life skill from each of us, and I'm going to go with phone skills.
Oh, okay.
Did I steal yours?
I got more. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, good. This is just a quick one. We all know it. We all know how to talk on a phone, and our kids don't, because they don't ever have to. Very, very rarely. So even start now with things like they can order in the food that you're going to have that night. And yes, they could do it online with Uber Eats, but challenge them. Find a place that's like a mom and pop pizzeria where you have to call and give the actual order to a human being and arrange the payment or, pick up particulars. They can do it. They're able to, and you coach them a little bit, and then you step out of the room. It's better if they go upstairs where you can't hear them because they're embarrassed. They're going to sound weird. So give them a small assignment now. And then when it comes time for them to do something bigger, like call to follow up on a job application or to make a doctor's appointment, then they won't feel so intimidated. So that is the last one I'm going to leave with. I give the floor to my esteemed colleague, Sharon.
I will give one more brief thing too. And first I'll say, don't worry about the laundry. Laundry is easy to teach. Some of these other things take a lot more practice, and mine is kind of related to yours, Jen. I would suggest let them speak for themselves when you're interacting with people outside the house. It's kind of similar, but different. Like when you go to the doctor's office, let them give their name and confirm their address. Let them go to the counter and order their food. Let them do those little things. When the doctor or nurse asks a question, just look at your kid, and then they'll look at your kid too, and your kid will have to answer, because I just feel like it's too easy. We're so used to speaking for them, but they can do it. They can practice.
Yeah, and it gives them a little confidence too, which is, and it does take practice, because the adult that wants to talk to you, because they know it's easier.
Yeah.
So it's a little uncomfortable. You sometimes have to physically step back so that they know, and you just have to do one of these, like,
they're right here.
Here you are. They can make that decision, or they can respond. It even started with us really early on with like ordering at a restaurant.
Yes.
That was the entree to that world, but there's a lot more of that they can and should be doing. So excellent. So, all right. Well, I think with that, we've covered every single life skill there is. There's nothing.
Yeah, it's over. That's it. That's all you need to know.
All right. But if by some chance you've thought of some that we missed, or some that you thought were really hilarious that you thought your kids should know, and that it just didn't pick up by osmosis, leave us a little chat wherever you're watching this, and we'd love to hear about it. And if you want to tell us what other topics you want to talk about, because we're here all the time. We'd love to we'll talk about anything.
All right, we'll see you soon, and we'll see you in the chat.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.